nightmares or dreams too.
Good point. That's an excellent.
Oh yeah.
Did they give you a shower?
Yes.
Awesome. They took my dope from me when I walked in.
All rise.
Okay, everybody can be seated. Okay, I need the attorneys to approach on a matter that just came up. You know the way. Okay, and we're back on the record. Mr. Alderman, how many witnesses do you anticipate calling? in rebuttal?
I anticipate calling 3 this morning, Judge. I anticipate that they will all be pretty quick.
Okay. All right. All right, so what will happen is we'll bring the jury in. I will, again, give them the instruction I gave yesterday about any questions they may have. Should only be submitted after deliberations have begun. And okay. Is everybody ready for the jury to be brought in?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
And what we'll do is for all the rebuttal witnesses, are all these witnesses going to be people who have already testified? Or
One of them is Detective Kelly. The other 2 have not previously testified.
okay, so I'm just going to re-swear everybody. I guess it's really only one, so I'll just do that. Okay, let's, before we bring the jury in, anything else for the attorneys?
How about offense, Your Honor?
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and bring the jury in.
Please rise for the jury.
Okay, everybody can be seated. All right, members of the jury, before we, yesterday, since yesterday, have any of you received any information about this case, done any research, seen anything on the internet or in the media about this case since yesterday? All right, all the jurors are shaking their heads no. Also, let me remind you that any questions you may have can only be submitted after deliberations have begun, and you will get an instruction in the final instructions about that process when we do our final jury instructions. Okay, with that, Mr. Alderman, call your next witness, or I guess the defense has rested now. Mr. Alderman is taking to present any rebuttal witnesses.
Yes, sir. The state is going to present witnesses.
All right, call your first rebuttal witness.
State would call Deputy Quick.
Raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, sir, have a seat in the chair.
Thank you, sir.
Hold the chair as close to the microphone as you can. Speak into the microphone loud enough so that everybody can hear you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Alderman?
Thanks, sir. Sir, would you please state your name for the record?
Stephen Quick,
And where are you employed?
Bay County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been with the Bay County Sheriff's Office?
Roughly 3 years, 4 years.
And where were you employed prior to that?
Santa Rosa Sheriff's Office.
And how long were you with the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office?
About 5 years.
Now, I want to talk to you about September 8th of 2021. Were you employed with Santa Rosa at that time?
Yes, sir.
And did you respond to a call out that day?
Yes, sir.
Where did you respond to?
I don't remember the address off the top of my head.
Okay. Did anybody else respond with you? Any other deputies?
Yes, sir. Deputy Hartbarger.
And who did you make contact with when you arrived there at that location?
It was Mr. Collin.
And where was he located?
He was seated in the garage when we walked up the driveway.
And where did Deputy Hartbarger go?
He went to the front door and went inside.
Did you ever enter the residence?
No, sir. Just the garage.
Other than the garage, the interior residence, did you ever go inside?
No, sir.
Okay. Were you wearing a body camera at that time?
Yes, sir.
Was it activated?
Yes, sir.
And have you viewed a copy of the recording from your body camera footage from that day?
Yes, sir.
And was that an accurate copy of what you witnessed that day?
Yes, sir.
At this time, I would move State's Exhibit 128 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. This takes Exhibit 128. It will be admitted into evidence.
Deputy Quick, your interactions there that day at the location, was everything that you saw and witnessed, was that captured on your body cam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would move to publish State's 128.
All right. You may do so. Is it set up?
It should be, Judge.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Tell me when to push the button then.
yes, sir. I'm ready, Judge.
Okay. What's that? How we doing this? Outside? Come in the garage?
We'll talk to one down here, then I'm assuming that's your wife or the other half. You want to say what they call this?
Wife, yeah.
We talk to you guys separate. Is that if I go inside or one of us goes inside and talk to you?
Yeah, I put my big dog in the side room,
Okay.
but point you down. She's got a shotgun and her pistol in the bedroom with her.
Okay.
And my pistol is on the dashboard of my truck. I'll put it there all pretty for you.
Okay, you stay out here, man.
I'm just opening. There's a little dog running around. She won't go all the way to the wall and then turn right.
Her name's Bree.
Her name's Bree. She's got both the kids in there with her.
All right. Do me a favor and lift your shirt up a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, fish your key. Okay, I seen something sticking out.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was a key or what was going on
I
over there.
put on nice shorts with no pockets.
Okay. So why don't you give me a rundown on what happened during your argument?
All right. So, you want a summary or you want my detailed notes?
I want you to tell me what happened and why she called us.
So, she called you right now because she figured out that I want to take my kids to my parents' house in Georgia for her and I to have more for me. I guess me to have a break from her. A little bit of backstory: in March, she tried to kill herself and did inpatient. After she was inpatient and then she was outpatient group for a while, she got kicked out of that group, and then went back in, Baker acted a second time for suicidal ideations, and there she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Are you familiar?
Mm-hmm.
So she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder in March or April. Got kicked out of her first therapy group, got kicked out of her second therapy group, and she skipped her last two individual therapies.
Okay. Well, what leads us to what's going on today? Because that's not being rude, but that's irrelevant to what's going on right now as far as she called us.
Yeah, so about 11 o'clock last night, she wanted to watch TV in the bedroom while me and the kids were sleeping in there. I didn't want her to because we were all sleeping. And she got mad and stormed out to the living room and watched TV out there. Tried to talk to her out there. She told me to go away, so I went back in the bedroom. 10 minutes later, she comes in the bedroom and says, "Get out." I say, "No." She says, "Now." I say, "No." So she lays down in the bed with the other three of us and turns on the TV. So, for context, we normally watch it at 10. She turned it at 30 until like 1 a.m. I turned it down a couple times. I eventually said, "Look, if you don't turn it down, I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi off to this TV." And she turned it up. So I turned the Wi-Fi off to that TV. She said, "Really, you're going to be vindictive?" I said, "I'm not being vindictive. I want you to turn it down because at this point it's 12:30 or 1 a.m. or something like that. Everybody's sleeping except for you, and you want to watch. You ever watch The 100? The 100?
I've heard about it. I haven't sat down and watched it.
Explosions and people scream.
Okay.
It's not a nice, quiet,
Yeah.
conversational show. So anyway, she says, "I'll show you vindictive," and goes out in the living room and puts around for a while, and then comes back and puts on like a rap pop music station on her phone, blasting that, and she goes butt to sleep. I'm laying there with the kids, and that was about 1. At about 1:30, or 1:47, I think, I'm like laying there wide awake, and at that point, she was snoring, so I'm like, all right, fuck this. And I would have gone to the couch before, but she wouldn't let me take the kids, and I don't really trust her with the kids when she's like this. So she was sleeping, so I took I grabbed my 4-year-old, or I went out to pee, took my 4-year-old to the couch, and then she woke up and started yelling at me again. So, "What are you doing? I'm taking the kids to the couch." "Fuck you aren't."
And that was all
What's that?
last night, right? Rolled into this morning.
Yeah, this is probably right around 2 a.m. at this point.
Okay. So what happened today causing her to pick the phone up and call? I guess she called 911. I didn't look.
She found out I was packing my car.
That's what the upset was.
Yes.
That you're going to Georgia to see their grandparents.
Yep.
And your parent.
Yeah, they're my parents.
Okay. And your kid's grandparent, actually.
Yep.
Okay. And she didn't like. And is she like? Was she allowed to go? Like, did you plan on her coming?
No, I didn't plan on her coming.
Okay. You're just gonna do it. Take a break.
Yeah,
And they're your kids, right?
they're my kids.
Okay, y'all are married, had
We're
kids.
married.
They're your blood.
They're both of our kids, and then I have a stepdaughter who's probably gonna be here in about 45 minutes from school. And my stepdaughter is fully hers legally, and her dad lives in Alabama, but he doesn't have any legal control.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me before, if Kylie's my 12-year-old, she said, if you take, I can't stop you from taking the little kids because they're yours, but if you take my 12-year-old, I will press charges on you. Well, fuck, so I have to leave a 12-year-old with you to be borderline.
Right.
So, after she had said, I'll show you Vindictive last night, I thought she meant she came in and put the music on. I found this morning my laptop was missing. So I'm looking all around the house for it, and finally I'm like, wait a minute, the dishwasher was running all night. Put my fucking MacBook in the dishwasher. It's a $2,500 computer. And then
It's unfortunate.
cut me off from all the credit cards she has control over. She's the primary breadwinner in the family. And yeah, I said, you washed my $2,500 computer because I turned off your show? No, because you controlled my access to the Wi-Fi. That's also not a legitimate reason.
Sure.
So this is the start, well, I guess, culmination of a long bad path.
Okay.
And it's not healthy for the kids to be around it. She's made repeated comments to the kids, the 3 and 4-year-old, since, well, today.
Well,
So the police are coming to save us because Daddy hurt Mommy. No. First of all, I didn't. Second of all, you don't tell a child that.
sure.
So,
What's your name again, man?
Collin, Collin. Yes. All my pens are covered in wood shavings.
He'll bring you one. So basically, marital property man, there's nothing I can do about your laptop, your truck. Pretty much the situations that I've seen from my experience for this is going to happen is it's going to be who crosses the line first. There's going to be somebody's going to get mad enough, someone's going to shove, someone's going to grab, someone's going to jail. So it would be best for you to give space. Just, I would tell her if she's standing here too, y'all need to give space. Can't make you do it. Can't make you leave. It's your house. It's going to be the first who crosses the line, you know?
Fucking sucks, man.
Yeah. Well, we can't be getting too far into people's lives. I mean, if a crime occurred, yeah, good to go. But
If what? A crime?
a crime occurred. So if she slapped across the face and you got claw marks and a red handprint on your cheek, that's different. You say, yeah, she slapped me. I believe you. I see the handprint.
I almost wish.
So all I can tell you is there's only expectation of privacy in like bathrooms. You know, if she started getting crazy, pick your phone up and start recording. I'd tell her the same thing. You start acting all kind of irate, put your phone up and start recording. You can record in your home, record on your property.
Yeah, there's no like 2-person consent.
It is
anything?
if you're recording voice or a secret camera. You gotta let them know you're recording them. But
Oh, okay.
but there's privacy in the bathroom. You can't do it in the bathroom.
Gotcha.
So
Got one for you and one for Miss Bree. Here's you, Kim. You ever
Go
filled a
inside.
statement out with us before?
Now, can we go inside and do it on the table?
I'd rather you guys stay separated for now because you guys aren't getting along.
It's probably a good call. I'll manage.
The biggest thing I need, Colin, full name, date of birth, good phone number on there, and then the narrative, there's lines on the back. Tell me what happened.
Sounds good.
All right.
This goes into the police report.
yep. There's gonna be a report. Yeah, due to it being domestic, there's definitely gonna be a report.
Your report from last time y'all came out here?
If it was domestic and there was an argument,
Oh, does it show up when you guys come out here or no?
yeah, if we look it up.
Oh, okay.
But every time that we come out and there's something to do with an argument or domestic, there's reports required. What's up with all the little green baggies hanging around? I'm just being nosy.
You live in Gulf Breeze?
No, I live in Perdido.
So the flies have been nightmarish this summer in Gulf Breeze.
Oh.
And she heard on one of the Facebook pages that cut up Dawn soap like that and put it in a bag, it keeps flies away. It seemed to work really well at first.
Probably change them out quite a bit. The scent starts lingering off them.
Yeah, I don't think she's made a second. I don't think she's replaced them, so maybe they kind of tapered off at some point.
Okay. I was just being nosy.
You know, if you only one, I like chatting. And it's nice to have another adult to talk to, if only briefly.
Yeah. Hopefully y'all get this figured out. for at least the kids' sake.
Yeah, well, this is it. Things were looking up when she was actually doing therapy, and then she stopped, and things are looking down.
That's generally how it works. Stop getting help and shocker.
What's that?
You stop getting help and it's a shocker. You stop going up.
Appreciate you guys getting here quick.
Oh, we're gonna show up, man. You call, we're showing up.
Man, this is lengthy.
Yeah, just the top is your start, and then the bottom you just pretty much get the rundown of this incident. She's upset that you're wanting to take the kids to Georgia. Just for, visiting the grandparents.
Lady, JP, come here.
Trying to show me everything.
I know it.
I said they're trying to show me everything.
I know it.
That's it.
Ready to sign it?
No, I'll read it and I'll tell you to sign it. Make sure you got all the information that we need.
Is there anything else you recommend that I put on there that I said to you but didn't write on there? The kids open.
Yeah. It's the one that's got all the energy.
Biggest boy.
Yep.
Man, I've been home with these kids every day for the past 2 years.
Well, he's full of energy, that's for sure.
He is. I got out of the Marine Corps about 2 years ago to keep them out of daycare.
Yeah.
That was funny that we
Oh, careful, don't slip. That was funny. What's wrong, buddy? You okay? You know you gotta look where you're going, buddy.
Miss Bree? Yes. I'm gonna give you both the business cards. If you guys need anything, call us, okay?
Can I get a copy of his statement later?
It's all part of the report. You'd have to get it from records with the sheriff's office, okay? All right?
What's it, buddy?
Thank you, Judge. And for the record, the last couple of minutes there were published on Deputy Hartbarger's body cam.
Okay.
Deputy Quick, after you and Deputy Hartbarger left the scene, did you have any further involvement in this case?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Quick.
Good morning,
How
sir.
you doing? So you got called out there at 6184 Jinx Drive that morning. That was the first call out there to the house, right?
I believe it's the only call I responded to, sir.
Okay. You were aware that in total, including the shooting, there was 3 separate times that law enforcement had to come out there to that residence.
Okay.
You know that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, Hartberger was the one that was talking to Bree, right?
Yes, sir.
You never talked to her, did you?
Briefly, when she asked a question amongst us, I didn't interview her or anything.
And basically, you learned that this man had cut the Wi-Fi. That led to the argument. Followed into the next morning, and the argument basically surrounded him taking the children to Georgia. That was what you learned during your investigation, right?
Yes, sir.
And He told you that he had a firearm in that truck, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Dashboard.
Yes, sir.
You never got any information or any evidence at all that this woman ever threatened him in any way, either physically or with any firearm or anything like that during the time that you were out there, did you?
I believe I asked him if anything was physical or. He's no.
She never threatened him, did she? As far
Not
as
to my
you
knowledge.
were able to. Okay. Now, Bree also told law enforcement that she had been pushed into a door frame, she'd been slammed to the floor, and been raped twice. But nothing ever happened as a result of her complaints to law enforcement, did there?
I don't know, sir. I didn't.
Y'all
ask
didn't do
her
a
that.
rape assault kit? Y'all didn't question him about a rape? Y'all didn't question him
Your
about
Honor,
a
I'm
battery, did you?
Object at this point. Deputy stated he had no contact with Ms. Kuhn.
I'll sustain the objection.
Did y'all arrest anybody that day?
No, sir, I did not.
Did y'all take him to the jail?
I did not arrest him.
Okay. And during this video, Collin's telling you, look, Bree's telling the kids the police are coming to help mommy because daddy's hurting her. That's what he told us on this video, right?
Yes.
Okay. But y'all didn't help Bree, did you? That day nothing happened as far as arresting Collin.
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to form.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
You didn't arrest him, did you?
No, sir, I've not arrested him.
He also told you that Bree had full custody and legal rights to the 12-year-old daughter, Kylie, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Those are my questions.
Any redirect?
No, sir.
All right, can this witness step down and be excused?
Yes, sir.
No objection by defense, Your
Sir, you
Honor.
may step down, you're now excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Alderman, call your next witness.
State would call Hardy Joyner.
Top of the rank, face the judge.
All right, sir, raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do. All right, sir, have a seat in the chair. Pull the chair as close to the microphone as you can and speak loud enough in the microphone so that everybody can hear you. All right, Mr. Alderman, you may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Sir, would you please state your name for the record
James Hardy Joyner.
and where you're employed?
I'm a special agent with the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA.
Do you know the defendant, Ms. Bree Kuhn?
Yes, sir, I do.
How do you know Ms. Kuhn?
We were in a relationship together, and we have a daughter together, Kylie Elizabeth Joyner.
And at the time of this incident, how old was your daughter, Kylie?
12.
And what was the living situation of Kylie at that time?
She lived with Bree and Collin full-time, and I saw her every other weekend.
Where were you living? Not the address, but where were you living at that time?
The Mobile, Alabama area.
Now, on the day of the shooting, did you have any contact with Mr. Collin Turner?
Yes, sir, I did.
And how did that contact come about?
He texted me, initiated a conversation with me about an argument that him and Bree were having.
And the nature of your contact with Mr. Turner that day, how were you guys communicating all that day?
It was all via text.
Did you ever speak to him on the phone?
No, sir, I did not.
You want me to approach the witness?
You may.
Sir, I've handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 108 for identification purposes. Do you recognize those messages?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And how do you recognize those messages?
It's a conversation between myself and Collin the night of the incident.
Okay. And is that an accurate copy of the text messages that you and Collin sent back and forth?
Yes, sir, it is.
At this time, I'd like to move into evidence State's Exhibit 108.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 108 will be admitted into evidence.
And I would move to publish, Judge.
You may.
I'm ready, whenever you're ready. Agent Joanna, what is the time of that first message?
Appears to be 12:55 p.m.
And the messages on the left in the white, who is sending those messages?
That's Collin, and that's myself in the darker shade.
Okay. And can you read the first message that Collin sent you that day?
Yes, sir. Hey, man, Bree's losing it. She ran my laptop through the dishwasher last night because I turned the Wi-Fi off. I'm planning on getting out of here with the little kids, but she's already told me she'll press charges if I take Kylie with me. I don't know what you can do legally, but I wanted to give you a heads up.
And how did you respond to Collin?
I said, damn, dude, I hate that. I'm not sure what to do, but thanks for the heads up. I was really hoping that she, referring to Bree, had gotten better.
Okay. And what was Collin's response to you?
She got kicked out of 2 group therapies, and she skipped her last 2 individual therapies, still drinking a lot.
And what was the time of your next message back to Collin?
It's 18:09, 6:09 p.m., I believe is what it was.
And what did you ask Collin, or what did you say to Collin?
I said, everything okay, man?
And how did Collin respond to you?
He said, nah, gonna be worse before it gets better, too. She's always told her stories about you, and I thought you sucked. But now that I think about it, she's crazy as hell and probably did the same stuff to you.
And how did you respond to Collin?
I said, I definitely had my down days, and I did my share of wrong in the past, but I'm sure there's plenty more to the stories you don't know, as you can probably see now.
And what was Collin's next message to you?
Yup, she just locked me in the garage because I wouldn't talk to her.
And what was the time Collin sent you that message?
6:13 p.m. approximate.
Okay. And how did you respond to Collin's statement about being locked in the garage?
I said, if you ever want to talk, I probably know more about what you're going through than anyone. You were able to keep her happy a lot longer than me, and you somehow have been able to get through to her more than I ever did.
Did you ever have any more communication with, oh, thank you, Judge. Did you ever have any more communication with Collin?
No, sir.
Now, again, you didn't speak with him on the phone, so everything you know about the situation that day is in these text messages. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you discuss any of the things he's telling you about the issues they're having that day? Did you discuss any of that with Bree?
No, sir.
Okay. At some point that day, did you speak with Bree?
I did.
Okay. How did that come about?
She contacted me. She called me. I answered the phone, and she said, you need to come get your daughter to some extent. And I thought, maybe she's just being a 12-year-old. And I said, why do I need to come get my daughter? And she said, I just shot Collin. And I responded, I said, why? And she said, I don't know. She said, you just need to come get Kylie. And I said, okay, I'm on the way.
Did she give any more description about what had happened?
No.
And where did you, once she has contacted you and told you this, where did you go?
I was on the way pretty much immediately to her residence in Gulf Breeze.
Now, prior to that day, or up until including that day, Collin was Kylie's stepdad, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever have any concerns about Collin being a stepdad to Kylie?
No, sir. He was great, and she had nothing but good things to say about him all the time.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Etheridge, cross-examination.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You're with the DEA, and you addressed yourself as a special agent. I've practiced federal law many, many years, and I always, not being facetious, but is there anything you're special about? Everybody that's an officer for DEA are called special agents. That's just your designation, right?
No, sir. I'm a 1811, a criminal investigator special agent, and we're the only people in DEA that are special agents, are 1811s.
How long have you been with them?
Approximately 4 years, 5 years going on.
Okay. Collin told you he was going to get the kids and go to Georgia, didn't he?
He said he was going to try to take the kids. Yes, sir, in the text.
And he also told you that Bree was going to have him arrested if he tried to take Kylie, because Kylie wasn't his biological daughter, right?
Yes, sir. He told me that she was going to press charges, is what he said.
And Bree had full custody of Kylie, didn't she?
Yes, sir. She had full custody. I had visitation.
She was very liberal with allowing you to see your daughter, right? Y'all don't have any issues with you seeing your daughter?
No,
I think it was
sir.
every other weekend, right?
Yes, sir. At that time, they had just moved close to me, so I started getting her consistently every other weekend.
Okay. And you knew that Bree had been hospitalized for an apparent attempted suicide?
I did not at that time.
you didn't?
I was aware that she was hospitalized, but I did not know that it was for an attempted suicide until after this incident.
I'm going to object as to outside of the scope of direct to this line of questioning.
You talked about it in the
Overrule the objection.
May I approach the witness, John?
You bet.
I'm going to show you something, page 18, deposition,
What page are you on? I'm sorry.
page 18, lines 3 through 5. If you will, Mr. Hardy, I'd like for you to read 3 to 5 to yourself. Don't read it out loud. Just read lines 3 to 5 to yourself. Now, if you have a chance to read that, I'm going to ask you again questions, see whether that helps refresh your recollection.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I was not aware that it was an attempted suicide until after this incident occurred. I was aware that she was hospitalized.
Well, that's not what you said then. You said, but yeah, I can't remember exactly who mentioned that it was an attempted suicide.
After the incident. Yes, sir.
No, that's not what you said. I was not aware that it was that extent. That's what you said under oath back in October 26, 2022. You don't remember saying that?
I did say that, and I was not aware that it was an attempted suicide until after this incident.
Okay.
I was aware that she was hospitalized.
And you knew that she was in the hospital for depression, didn't you?
Collin told me his words were mental issues, so.
Now, Bree called you immediately after the shooting, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And you found out from Collin about the basis of the argument, turn off the Wi-Fi, and apparently went over to the next morning. And in those texts between you and Collin, you mentioned that you'd had your down days and you did your share of wrong in the past as well, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And when she called, she told you you needed to come get your daughter.
Yes, sir.
As soon as possible, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall her asking you whether Collin was dead?
The second phone call that she called me, she asked me if Collin was dead.
You were never married to her, were you?
No, sir.
And you mentioned there in your text, and I believe you testified today as well, that obviously Bree had some mental health issues that needed to be addressed or should be addressed, right?
I would agree with that. Yes, sir.
you knew that Bree took medications for ADHD, didn't you?
Yes, sir. That was even back in our relationship. I believe she was taking Vyvanse for ADHD, but I don't know if she was still currently at the time of the incident.
And you, in the text between you and Collin, I mean, one of the last questions that the prosecution posed to you was, and your answer was, she had nothing but good things to say about him. But then there in your text with Collin, you said Bree had told you stories about him and you thought he sucked. So that's not exactly the same. Which one was it?
You're incorrect. He said that he thought I sucked. That's coming from Collin, not from me.
Did you ever have any communications with her after that second phone call?
We talked via jail calls after she was incarcerated, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Any redirect?
No, sir.
All right, can this witness step down?
Yes, sir.
I have no objection to him being
All right,
excused.
sir,
Your
you
Honor.
may step down. You're now excused. All right, Mr. Alderman, call your next witness.
State would recall Detective Mitchell Kelly.
Oh, Mr. Alderman?
Yes, sir.
If you could have the evidence you introduced.
Yes.
You have those, so give them to the clerk.
Leave the.
But he took it out.
Well, will you get Mr. Joyner? Ah, there.
All right, sir, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Sir, have a seat in the chair. Again, pull the chair as close to the mic as you can. Speak loud enough into the microphone so that everybody can hear you. Mr. Alderman, you may proceed.
Thanks, sir. So would you please state your name again for the record?
Mitchell Kelly.
And we previously discussed that you and Detective Rowell had gone to Pennsylvania to interview Mr. Eric Kuhn. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And without telling me the exact nature of the conversation, can you describe what happened when you arrived to speak with Mr. Kuhn?
So after we got to Pennsylvania, we made contact with defendant's brother to kind of arrange an interview.
How did you initially make contact with him?
We called him on the phone, let him know we were in town. We had also arranged to have an interview done at the local police department, just in case that was an option. We told him we were in town, told him we wanted to meet for an interview. He wanted to do it at his business, which we were fine with.
So after this telephone conversation, where do you go?
We went to his business and met with him.
And is that you and Detective Rowell?
That's correct.
Okay. And what was the situation when you arrived at his business?
Once we got there, I think he wanted to have a conversation with the attorney about having him on the phone while we were having the interview, which we were fine with. I think once we started the interview, we recorded everything.
And the attorney that you mentioned, did he end up being on the phone and part of the conversation?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And you mentioned the recording. Ultimately, the body camera is turned on and recording is done. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, prior to that recording, what was again, without telling me the exact details, what was the nature of your discussion with Mr. Kuhn?
Before the interview,
Yes, sir.
nothing really, banter about his business, I guess. Really was just kind of discussing that, why we were there, and he was kind of wondering why we were there, why we had kind of shown up to have the interview. We just kind of explained to him it was important to have it in person.
Before the recording is done, was there any questioning or interrogation about the specifics of what happened in relation to the murder?
No, sir.
And you previously stated you've been in law enforcement in both Colorado and Florida, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And worked as a homicide investigator?
That's correct.
Now, as a homicide investigator, would there ever be a situation where you do a partial interview, start a recording, and then finish an interview?
No,
Why would you not do that?
because it's just not the right thing to do.
Okay. Have you ever done that in your career?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Cross-examination?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Kelly.
Morning.
You didn't contact Eric Kuhn until you'd already gotten there in Pennsylvania, did you?
That's correct.
Okay. So he had no idea you were even in Pennsylvania until you got there, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you have a body camera on you when you interviewed him?
Yes.
Okay. We haven't seen, that has been presented as evidence. Did Raul have a body camera?
We were there together, so we had the one body camera.
That hasn't been introduced into evidence.
Your Honor, I'm going to object for relevance and an improper question to a witness.
Your approach.
Do you agree that the best evidence of the questions you asked and the answers that Eric gave you would have been captured on a body camera?
Can you rephrase that question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you agree that the best evidence, the most correct evidence, the most objective evidence would be the body camera that you say that y'all recorded Eric with that day? Instead of your memory now, some 3 years later, do you agree with me that the body camera would be the best evidence?
Yes, that's why we record our interviews.
Thank you. And I believe you said that Eric wondered why you showed up out of nowhere, or worse than that, something like that. Is that what you testified to earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you never asked him about Bree having a gun, did you?
So when we were there just to get a statement from him about what conversation he had with Bree at the time.
Okay, the question was, you never asked him about Bree having a gun, did you?
I don't recall asking any specific questions about the gun.
So if you didn't mention it, it's because you didn't ask him. Is that
Your
fair
Honor,
to say?
I'm going to object for argumentative.
I'll sustain as it's phrased.
But you never specifically asked Eric about Bree having a gun, did you?
No, sir, he wasn't there.
Thank you, sir.
Any redirect?
Yes, sir, just briefly. Detective Kelly, if you ask a witness to tell me everything that you witnessed or heard or knew, do you expect them to do that?
I do.
Okay. And you only know what they're telling you, is that correct?
That's correct.
So if they don't mention something, it would be hard for you to know to specifically ask about that. Is that fair to
Correct.
say?
I'm not going to lead them into information.
Okay. And in terms of showing up in Pennsylvania, might there be a benefit to not giving a witness in a murder case a good deal of advance notice?
That's correct.
And what would that purpose be?
To get a true statement from them, not a prepared statement or a planned out statement, I guess you could say.
All right, thank you, sir.
Correct, and this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Very much
No
step back.
objection by defense, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down, you're now excused.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Alderman?
And state would rest, Judge.
Okay. Members of the jury, I'm going to have you, well, let me have the attorney's approach. All right, members of the jury, what I anticipate now is that we're going to have a break. When you come back in, the attorneys will then give their closing arguments to you, and I will give you your jury instructions. This may take a little bit longer. We need to finalize the jury instructions. We actually did a lot of that work yesterday after you left. So when y'all left, we stayed, and we have a pretty good working copy, so it's not going to take too long, but we just need to do a final run-through of the instructions. And then when you come back in, the attorneys will give their closing statements to you, closing arguments to you, and then I will give you your jury instructions. So with that, please not discuss the case among yourselves. Leave your notepads and pens underneath your chairs, and we will be back to you momentarily.
Please rise for the jury.
Okay, if the attorneys can approach Okay, we'll take a recess for about 15 or 20 minutes, and the attorneys will be reviewing the final instructions. So, all right, we'll be in recess.
Please rise for the judge. Thank you.
may be seated.
Mr. Alderman and Mr. Barnes are right outside. I'll go get him.
Okay.
Judge, so Lily only needs an hour to order lunch. Lily only needs 1 hour to order lunch, so just let me know if you want her to go ahead and. Okay. Give her a heads up that she may want to. All right, perfect.
Now, we'll go ahead.
Okay.
So my understanding is, I guess we got to get Ms. Kuhn in.
Well, when you get a chance, will you move this podium? I don't want to ask for that.
I don't.
Is that on? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So my understanding is the courthouse is going to be shut down at 1 o'clock today. My understanding is Escambia is shutting down at 1 o'clock, and that so we will follow suit here, and so we'll be closing the courthouse at 1 o'clock. So with that, my understanding, I know from the defense, well, let me ask you this, is the defense wanting us to do closings, let the jury deliberate, or just, and hear from the state too, or come back tomorrow and do the closings and jury instructions all in one sitting?
Tomorrow in one flow.
All right, Mr. Alderman?
Yes, sir. I believe the problem with that time frame is, would we be done by 1 or around 1? So I don't want to do closings, read the instructions, and then just immediately send them home.
And then send them home, right? Or what I don't want to do closings. I don't know how long your closings would be, but let's just say they got it at noon, and then they're in the process of deliberating, and then I'm coming back in and telling them, oh, by the way, now you need to leave. And so I don't want to do anything that would interrupt their deliberations.
Yes, sir.
So is everybody good with that procedure? Everybody be back here at 8:30 in the morning. My understanding is everybody will be fully operational. I think everything's going to be fine here, but in abundance of caution, the courthouse will be closing at 1 o'clock, and in this county, I understand there are people who have to drive over bridges and that sort of thing, and so there's always a concern with that, even if it's not the hurricane's not coming here. You got the gust and people going over bridges and that sort of thing. So anyway, all right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the jury in. I'm going to just kind of let them know there's been a unforeseen change in circumstances, and just let them know that it'll be best to do the closings and deliberations in one sitting, so to speak. And so while we're here, anybody have any issues with the jury instructions? Or we can we can excuse the jurors for the day and then do a run through, and then that way we can go straight into this, if that's okay with everybody. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good,
All right,
Judge.
let's bring the jury in.
And Judge, I sent Trustee obviously the jury instructions. Did you want me to send you the verdict form again?
Is it the same verdict form?
Yes, sir. I didn't make any changes.
Then, no, she printed it out for me, so.
Yes, sir.
Please rise for the jury.
Okay, everybody can be seated. All right, members of the jury, since I last saw you about a half hour ago, 45 minutes ago, there's been a change in circumstances, and that change is that this courthouse, because of the storm, is going to be closing at 1 o'clock today. And because of that, you're going to be able to leave early today. We wanted to do, obviously, the closings and the jury instructions today. However, with the courthouse closing at 1 o'clock, we didn't feel it was fair to, number one, do closings and then have you come back tomorrow and begin deliberations. Do closings, you start deliberations, and then have you come back and stop, and then continue with deliberations. And also, we wanted to make sure that you have plenty of time for your deliberations, and no one feels the burden of any time constraints or anything like that. These were, again, this is something that we have all learned within the last 30 to 40 minutes. So anyway, and after consultation with the attorneys, I think everybody agrees the best thing to do is to have closing arguments, the jury instructions, and you begin your deliberations all in one sitting instead of breaking it up. And again, and part of it too is, I know there may be some of you that have to go across bridges and all that. And like I said on Monday, we want to make sure everybody is safe. That's going to be our priority here. Hopefully, I don't know that the storm is, based on the tracks, is, going to do the damage here like I think it's going to in the Tallahassee area. That's one of the unfortunate things about hurricanes. You sit there and you say, well, I hope it doesn't hit me, but when you say that, it's going to hit somebody else too. And so that's why I'm, it's just kind of sometimes a somber thing to think about it in this area here, because even though we may not get the brunt of it, we know that others will. But we want to make sure everybody is safe, and so, like I said, after consultation with the attorneys, I made the decision that I think that is what is best for this trial. So what I'm going to have you do is, and again, we anticipate to be fully open tomorrow. If for whatever reason something changes and we're not, I think there's a way that the clerk will be able to contact you, those kinds of things. So, but I anticipate we'll be fully operational tomorrow, starting at 8 o'clock. So what I'm going to have you do is have you back here at 8:30 tomorrow morning, and leave your notepads and pens underneath the chairs. Again, please not do any research. Do not go on the internet and look at anything about this case. If you have to see anything on the news about this case, just don't look at it. Don't do anything like that. And again, you cannot talk about this case with anybody. And with that, I hope everybody is safe, and then we'll see you at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
Please rise for the jury.
All right, everyone be seated. All right, let's, we'll make use of the time we have here.
Yes, sir.
To go through a final run-through of the jury instructions. And All right, are there, y'all see any objections for 7.1?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, any objection to 7.2?
No, sir.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objection to 3.4?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Seven point four?
No, sir.
No, sir. But while we're at it, you would give, I don't need to renew my objections from yesterday, I wouldn't think. There was a few things that,
Right, I know you wanted, well, I remember from the self-defense, you had talked about potential kidnapping as a forcible felony.
that was goofy, but yeah, yes, sir. But essentially for the record.
Yeah, for the record, any objections that were made yesterday, you maintain those objections for our final, for the purposes of our final run-through?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any objection to 7.7?
No, sir.
'Mr. Barnes?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, any objection to 7.7, the manslaughter instruction?
I'm sorry, Judge, no, no objection.
Oh, okay, all right.
Sorry,
No, that's okay. All right, so we have 3.3A. And the language in the instruction tracks the language in the indictment, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's
Okay.
correct.
Judge, if I may, the kidnapping that I brought up yesterday, it would be germane or relevant to Kylie, the Hardy's daughter. If there was if there's any evidence at all that Collin took daughter.
The 12-year-old.
Yes.
Mr. Alderman?
There was no evidence that he was either planned or made any effort to kidnap Kylie.
There's
Yeah,
there's a bunch of evidence about taking the kids to Georgia, contemplating that in his text to Hardy. I don't think it would have surprised anybody if that actually occurred. I mean, there's evidence there, is the whole point.
She said he's going to charge him.
Well, the text to Hardy show that he's notifying Hardy because Hardy is the dad. So that would really disprove that theory, that he had no intent of kidnapping Kylie. He's notifying Hardy of what's going on, and he wants him to be involved because he's the legal father.
The intent is that, obviously, he's contemplating it. Bree is saying, if you do that, you're gonna get arrested. I'm gonna bring charges. Not just there's evidence is the whole point.
all right, let me think about it.
Again, the evidence from Ms. Kuhn is that he's attacking her, kicking her. The evidence from her brother was varied things, but he was killing the kids, and then he's dragging the little one. Nobody ever mentioned kidnapping Kylie, so I think that would be extremely misleading instruction for the jury. If the defense I don't believe that would be a valid argument based on the evidence.
All of that, I think, was credibility, and it's obviously a question for the jury.
Well, no, I'm not talking credibility. Neither Ms. Kuhn nor her brother said he was attempting to take Kylie. That was not. Nobody testified.
Let me look at the kidnapping instruction.
Judge, in looking at the kidnapping instruction, there's no evidence to support either element 1 or element 3. So.
Yeah, I was looking at element 3. I mean, maybe it's interference, potentially interference with custody, but that's not a forcible felony. So at this point, I'm not going to include that. Your objection's noted. I'll do some research and just, or y'all can do some research and see if there is any case law that would support in this context a instruction within the self-defense instruction of allowing the kidnapping and false and the kidnapping instruction. But I mean, for kidnapping, the state must prove the following 3 elements beyond a reasonable doubt: the defendant forcibly, secretly, or by threat confined, abducted, imprisoned the victim against his will. He had no lawful authority to do so, and he acted with intent to. And I think this is the element: hold for ransom or reward, or as a shield or hostage, commit or facilitate the commission of a felony, inflict bodily harm upon or terrorize another person, and interfere with the performance of any government or governmental or political function. At the end of the day, there just wasn't any evidence of that. I mean, I don't know, maybe in her mind, but the 12-year-old never even, the only evidence that we have about the 12-year-old is the fact the 12-year-old was on the porch and was after the shooting. I mean, the 12-year-old is nowhere to be found in any of the other calls. And I don't know if the 12-year-old was at school or what was going on, but that was it. I mean, the only evidence we have of the 12-year-old even being present is they're on the porch at the house of the neighbors. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong.
Ms. Kuhn also said that she was present with the 2 smaller children in her bedroom when she went out and shot Collin.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the gravamen of the whole deal, but I mean, say that there's a threat, Collin, to some degree. I mean,
But I don't know that he ever specifically, there was no specific threat to the 12-year-old.
No, sir. There was no evidence of a threat, no evidence of ransom or shield or forcible felony. He's locked out. The children are inside. And she said she killed him because he came at her.
and I don't know if you want us to, we'll go back and forth on others.
Well, I think at this point, I'm not going to include it. But if y'all find a case that says that I have to, then I will. I mean, I'll follow whatever the case law says.
Yes, sir. You've said a lot, and I'll just finish with this. I wouldn't think he would have to communicate that to Kylie, that he was going to do that. But at any rate, I
Well, when I say that, there's no evidence that I can recall that for the 12-year-old that he was going to do anything. I mean, to the 12-year-old. I mean, and I think he knew that he couldn't, even if he wanted to, based on the text that he had. I mean, so anyway. But if y'all can find something, I will certainly consider it. All right. All right. Any other objection to the justifiable use of deadly force instruction?
No.
Okay. All right. Then we have 3.7, 3.9.
Oh, Judge, I do see under 3.7, I have information and indictment both in brackets there, so it should say indictment.
Agreed.
All right. So we'll change. I can have Tressie just make that change.
Yes, sir.
We'll take out the word information and just leave indictment.
And the rest of 3.7 is standard other than that one change?
Yes. Then we have 3.9.
No objection to 3.9.
No objection.
All right. 3.9A, defendant not testifying.
No objection.
We have the 3.9B, defendant statements.
No objection.
All right.
Either 3.9
I think-
or 3.9B.
Yep.
And no, so no objection to 3.9B or 3.10.
3.10. Then we have 3.11, 3.12, 3.13 are just the
3.10 under number 2, there are brackets around and have seen in the form of the exhibits
Yeah.
and evidence.
we'll just keep the brackets there.
Okay.
And then with regard to number 7 on 3.10?
Well, I mean, we can take them out. I mean, I can have Tressie take the brackets out, I guess, I suppose. So, okay. What now?
It's probably my OCD, but on 7,
3 point,
with 3.10, number 7,
yeah,
it looks like it's just spaced an extra space, right? Shouldn't it just come up?
sure, we'll move it up a space.
I'll calm down now.
No, it's funny because my judicial assistant this morning said, do you want me to, fix the spaces? I said, it looks fine.
Sure.
But, all right, we can fix the space. And we do have the paragraph, if you need to communicate with me, send a note through the court deputy. Okay. Then 3.11, 3.12, 3.13, I think are all the standard instructions.
I assume you haven't changed your mind on 3.12 with the not guilty coming first?
I have not changed my mind on that.
You don't want to try something new? I'm
No,
smiling at you.
I don't.
For the record, okay.
And Madam Clerk, you have all of the exhibits, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, let's make sure of that. And so let me just go through the exhibits of what we have, just to make sure everything has been logged in and we know what's going back with the jury, to the jury.
In terms of numbers, everything should go back except number 1 and then 130A and B.
Okay. But we have, let me run through what we have.
I'll just gather all those sheets for the
Okay. Okay. Did you do it in the order they were submitted? It's
As they were
admitted?
yes, sir.
Okay, so I've got 116, 911 call, 117, 911 call, 118, 911 call, 112, Hart Barger body cam, 114, Lynn body cam, 115, Lynn body cam a second time, 111, Bonner body cam, 110, Pinto body cam, 126, Metzler body cam, 2 through 74 have crime scene photos, 119 shell casing, 121 shell casing, 120 shell casing, 125 bullet fragment, 124 bullet fragment, 131 gun holster, composite 1 gun, magazine, and holster,
Which one was that?
composite 1 gun, magazine, and holster. It was in a box.
One, yes, sir.
Is that it?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. All right. We got it?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
130A cartridge, 130B cartridge. And then for autopsy photos, we have 75 through 107, with now the exception of 79 and what was it?
106, I believe.
79 and 106 are now just simply marked for identification purposes and will not go back to the jury.
Correct.
They've been taken out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I did ask Clerk Judge yesterday if they needed to keep a copy of those for their purposes, and they said no,
Okay.
since they're not going back with the jury and they're not in evidence.
Okay.
Are they not even up there?
What?
Are they not even up there?
No, I've
sir,
got
they've
them.
been removed.
They've been removed.
Good, thank you.
All right, 122 projectile, 123 projectile, 109. The interview with the defendant, 113, the cell phone recording made by the defendant, 128 is the quick body cam, and 108, the text between Mr. Turner, and Mr. Joyner. Does that round out the list? So
Yes, sir.
nothing else was admitted?
Yes, sir.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Let me just double check, Judge.
Okay.
For the, that projectile. I don't see those in here, 122 and 123.
Those were in manila envelopes,
Okay.
the autopsy
That
projectiles.
would be why. Thank you. 123 and 123. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, you got them?
Yes,
Okay. All right, anything else from the clerk?
So far, that's all we have, Judge.
Okay. All right, so I think we've got everything. All right. Anything else that we need to cover?
One thing I want to remind the court, I've already told Judge Hilliard, I'm sure if Tressie could let him know as well. I've got one plea tomorrow at his final plea day. Should take about 5 minutes. The other case I'm continuing. So if the court would have, give me like 10 or 15 minutes before we
Sure.
start, I'll be the first one here, ready to go.
All right, and I'll let Judge Hilliard know.
Okay, thank you so much, Judge.
And he starts at what time tomorrow? 8:30?
8:30.
Okay, all
But
right.
I'll be through in 10 minutes.
I'll ask him if he can, you know.
Did we
Thank you, Judge.
release the jury already?
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I was going to say if we wanted to start at 9, since we're going straight into closings, but if we told the jury 8:30, that's
Yeah, we don't, well, by the time they get situated, use the restroom, all of that, it'll take another 15 or
I
20
should be
minutes.
back
So,
by then,
yeah,
Judge.
we'll wait for you, Mr. Etheridge.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. I wouldn't want the party to go on without me.
Okay. All right, anything else we need to cover?
no, sir.
No, sir. All right, I will see y'all at 8:30, with the exception of Mr. Etheridge. We'll see him when he
When he gets here.
gets here.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you.